Hey folks, this is Matt once again. Another review, kind of a re-review because I reviewed this film before, so I'll probably try not to make this too long a review. But once again, it's a film that Ben, actually this one had sent me from the UK. I asked about this. I didn't think he would do it, but not because he's a nice guy, but it's a lot of work. At least he says it's not, but I think it is. Especially for someone like me, he barely knows. But he did such a nice thing, and he sent me Prince of Darkness from the UK, which a lot of these, not all, but a lot of them, you can tell, like, they always have the information on their side. Same with They Live and the Hitcher that I bought from over there. And the reason for it is I have the movie on DVD, but this has an audio commentary with John Carpenter and actor Peter Jason, which I got done listening, and it's a pretty good commentary. A lot of times John Carpenter does some really good commentaries, like They Live with Roddy Piper and John Carpenter. That's a great commentary. The ones he done with Kurt Russell as well are great. And I reviewed this film before, but Prince of Darkness is one of those films I remember. I remember when I was a kid. If I was wondering, I had shorts. That's why you see my bare legs. I remember as a kid, not this poster, but it's the original poster. Or I should say the original, well, and the original cover on the VHS of Prince of Darkness. That's the guy with the face going ah, and it's like, and there's like a church on top. Like, actually, it was like here, or what the fuck, and there's a church on there that has some green glow, green stuff, and I always remember that poster. I have a computer. Why don't I just show the fucking poster? But I remember for the longest time seeing that and being like creeped out by that cover. Like, what is this movie? It wasn't until a while later that I'd seen the film, and I enjoy Prince of Darkness. I think it's one of John Carpenter's most underrated movies. You know, John Carpenter's thing, has its fan base, thankfully, but I love Prince of Darkness because it has a great atmosphere to it, has a great tone to the film. There, that's the one I'm talking about. And the words there, it says, shit, I can't read it. Hell, why don't I just do this? There we go. Before men. God, I can't read shit. God, messing up. Before men walked the earth, it slept for centuries. It is evil. It is real. It is awakening. A new film from John Carpenter, master of terror and suspense. Prince of Darkness. Which I gotta say, why do we have a shitty cover with Alice Cooper? That's a better cover, but hey, what do I know? It's definitely the cover that always, oh shit, and the poster always caught me. And it's the cover on the VHS. But this is the film John Carpenter did right after Big Trouble in Little China. Big Trouble in Little China was made, and it was a fucking flop. Because 20th Century Fuckface didn't know how to market the movie. They didn't market the film that well. No one knew what the film was even fucking out. So the film died a death. And that's sad, because Big Trouble in Little China is a great movie. If those wondering, John Carpenter, when I first made this account here, one of the first things I did was review all of John Carpenter films. So all the reviews for John Carpenter movies are up. They're just from way back when I, had the bad camera and crappy audio, and I had to put them in parts, but they're still up. If I remember, I'm gonna put the parts to my old review if you want to check that out. Should be down there. Now, the film stars some folks from Big Trouble in Little China. You have Victor Wan, who unfortunately is no longer with us, who played Ade Shin in Big Trouble in Little China. You have Dennis Dunn, played Wayne from Big Trouble in Little China. Great guy, Dennis Dunn. It's sad that, he's not doing too much nowadays, but I really love Dennis Dunn in this film and in Big Trouble in Little China. You also have Donald Pleasance, of course, from Halloween. Yeah, that guy Jameson Parker, who kind of has the old school Chuck Norris mustache, like from Silent Rage. Jameson Parker always reminded me of those that early Chuck Norris. If you see Jameson Parker, you see him in this film. He has the mustache like Chuck Norris did in like Silent Rage or and stuff. It always reminded me of that old school Chuck Norris, which is fine. And Jameson Parker didn't go on to do much. I know he was on a TV show called Simon and Simon with the guy who played Gerald McRaney or Gerald, I forgot his name, from the guy who starred in Major Dad. Him and Jameson Parker star in this TV show called Simon and Simon, which I didn't grow up watching. I think it was Gerald McRaney or something like that. And he did a really good job with this film. And it was written by Martin Quatermass. That was really John Carpenter, but I guess he had to hide it. Maybe because the Writers Guild or whatever the hell. But anyway, this was made right after Betrayal of Little China. It was a $3 million budget, and the film was a hit. It made, what, $14 million? That's still a pretty good hit. I mean, it's like 4 times the budget. And the plot of the film, at times, has been a little bit unsure. But not only does Carpenter kind of explain a little bit on the commentary, not too much, but really enough, it actually explains it right here on the back of the DVD. When an evil substance sealed in an ancient canister begins to come alive, a group of scientists strive to uncover its hidden secret. They discover the canister is 7 million years old and that the lid can only be opened from the inside. The scientists also find an ancient manuscript which reveals the dreadful truth about the canister. Because I think that for the longest time they thought, and they figured out, the foul substance it holds is actually the concentrated essence of Satan, entombed by his father, an anti-god. As the vile liquid assumes a life of its own, the team members begin to disappear. Satan manages to escape his ancient prison, transforming his many victims into zombies. Kelly, played by Susan Blanchard, becomes his host, aiding him in his quest to bring his father, the anti-god, back from darkness. I'm not sure that's back of our DVD in the US, but hell, you could just read the back of the DVD and I save so much trouble on understanding it. Catherine, Lisa Blount, and her lover, Brian, Jameson Parker, as well as the other members of the team, must resist the evil clutches of Satan in a terrifying struggle to survive. And that's what I like about the film. The film is a sort of a balance between religion and quantum physics, because Donald Pleasence is this priest, and this other priest passed away, and he had like the key to go down there. Donald Pleasence has Victor Wan and his group of students go down to look at this green canister, see what's up with this green canister, and it has this like telekinetic and movements, and it seems like something's awake in there, alive in there. What could it be? And like there's a manuscript, and what's funny is on the commentary, John Carpenter, he's talking with Peter Jason, who's an actor in this film. He's been in They Live, Village of the Damned, Ghosts of Mars, and talks about how some of the stuff is like, why is that in there? Oh, it's weird shit. Sometimes I just wanted to write, just write because it's weird shit. And that's what he did. The whole point is that John Carpenter, he even admits half the time he didn't even know what the hell was going on. But it's kind of like mumbo jumbo. He just wanted to have some mystery, and he's like, it's just a horror film, but in a nice way. I thought that was kind of funny. But after listening to the commentary, and I understand what's going on now. Holy shit! Students want to look at quantum physics. They're trying to do it scientifically, and I guess their whole notion, Donald Pleasence and them, was that, hey, we got Satan. It's contained in this canister. But they didn't think of the idea that it was put there by its dad. I guess they didn't figure Satan had a daddy called Anti-God. And that's the scene where Victor Wan and Donald Pleasence are talking to each other, and it's like, well, what if you're right and you say every particle has a good side, that God's part of every particle? Well, every bit has a anti part. the mirror image. So maybe there's an anti-god. And maybe the whole point he's doing is to rise up and to bring his dad, the anti-god, back into our world. And that's what Donald Pleasance's like, well, we were never told this. We never... He's like, yeah, of course you weren't told. It would just be legends. But here we are being able to prove some of this stuff thanks to science, to be able to decode this manuscript that's in all these languages and to study this liquid to see that it's more than meets the eye, to coin a phrase, or steal a phrase. And it takes place all in this church, and it's an interesting plot. You may not understand the whole thing, but I understand. Each time I watch it, I understand more and more. And now I pretty much fully understand it. And it's interesting. It's an interesting concept. It's not what you see normal. When it gets to a scene where it's talking about how Jesus was an alien but humanoid who came down to warn us, you're like, what the fuck? That's what I wanted John Carpenter to talk about that, but they don't. I'm like, why do you have Jesus as an alien? But thought that was interesting. It's an interesting concept, but what works about the film, it has an awesome mood to the flick. From the beginning of the film, there's bugs and worms and even stuff in the sky and creepy crawly bugs, all real, that are just going sort of ape shit. Alice Cooper and these other sort of homeless people start watching the church, and it's like a siege movie. Assault on Precinct 13 or even, Ghosts of Mars. It becomes a siege movie. Because they're trying to get in and they kill one or two people. Some good gore, too. Like the guy who gets fucked up with scissors. And later on they see him out there, standing out there. And he's like, I got a message for you. And you're not going to like it. Pray for death. And his fucking head falls off. The fucking head fell off. And then, basically his body crumbles because now it's just fucking bugs. Or like one poor asshole gets stabbed with like a fucking bike. Like piece of a bike. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Just watch it. But also the liquid starts possessing people. Using them. Using its telekinetic and gets into people's mouths. It could be a bad joke on them. I'm not going to do it. It starts possessing people. Or like this big guy comes in with this woman who's possessed and she just cracks his neck very easily. And it's a great mood to the film. It's a great look to the film with the lighting, with the John Carpenter widescreen. The music, without a doubt, one of the best scores for a horror film is Prince of Darkness. Doom, da da dum, pum pum, dun 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 dun. I'm doing a shitty job of it, but it's an awesome fucking score that really helps the film. Well, the film's really good, but it gives so much more to the film. And the cast is excellent. Donald Pleasance and Victor Wong sharing the screen is great. Jameson Parker, I really liked him as the lead. I thought he was a very likable, capable, good actor. And it's sad he didn't go on to do too much. Dennis Dunn, he's great comic relief. He's... Well, actually, I say comic relief, but he's naturally funny. He's not like do-do-do-do-do-do. He's naturally funny, Very likable guy in this film, Dennis Dunn. So you had a great cast, you had a great boot to the film, you had some gore, you had a really weird, interesting plot for the film that's, not typical. I like the idea that there's something bigger than Satan. That's not really a normal thing. The whole idea of the anti-god, and it's definitely an interesting concept. It's something they haven't done too much before or since. I like that idea. But I also like the idea you get some action, especially in the second half of the film where it becomes a siege movie. Not only from outside they can't get out, they can't just leave the church, but from within when each of their friends start getting possessed. And when I mean possessed, I don't mean like it's Evil Dead, gore, but really moody, really creepy, atmospheric movie. And once in a while they have these dreams that's from the future. And it's someone from the future transmitting these images back, giving them a warning. And I just, so much about this film is just really underrated. I remember, it's weird, I always remember this comment Michael King said on my old review, it's still there. He said something about, he saw this film a long time ago, and I should find the quote, it did something to him. I'm like, huh? Like, he's never seen it since. And it didn't seem like he hated the film. It just seemed like something happened. Like, I don't know. I gotta find the quote, but it was a really interesting quote because it's not like, oh, I reviewed this film 2 times before. Stupid damn thing. I reviewed this film twice before, actually. Shit, I remember this film from years ago and it really creeped me out. I don't remember much about it other than the fact that I didn't finish it because it was so creepy and left a bad taste in my mouth. It would be interesting to watch it again and see if it has the same effect on me. So creepy it left a bad taste in his mouth. That would be interesting to see him do that again. I did review it twice. Shit. Okay, so I reviewed it way back when. That's why. Then it was part of my 69 favorite horror films. When I did that list of 69 favorite horror films. So this is the third time. Well, fuck it. You know, this film doesn't get talked about much. I might as well be the guy who reviews this film 3 times. And see, I'm sure you watch those reviews. Each time, I understand it more. Now I understand it really well. And again, atmosphere, tone, wonderful cast, interesting ideas, which you don't see a lot nowadays. I know some people say that it was ambitious, but it wasn't ultimately successful. But at the same time, I thought it was pretty successful. If you put more money into it, it'd be bombastic and maybe some bad special effects. And nowadays they do fucking CGI shit. But like the way how the anti-die is coming through the mirror, I like the idea of the mirror as the doorway. Because mirrors is like, I don't know, for some reason, I always like usage of mirrors. It's that way that you look at yourself, but what if that self is, the good side, bad side? It's like, what if that's a doorway? I don't know, for some reason, I always like that. Even though Poltergeist 3 did that and it sucked. But, the way it was done, I like the fact that, on the comedy, they talk about how you see the other side, it was done in a swimming pool. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And you see her get the antidote, and when he comes through, I see like red. So every time I see like his hand being pulled into our world, I see red. I always think it's gonna look like fucking Tim Curry from Legend. That's what I always think of when I see that. Spoiler, folks. Spoiler. I love the way it ends because the dream you thought it was one thing and it was that, but you see that it's been changed. So there's a little bit of hope, but there's also a little bit of the apocalypse could still be coming soon. At least that's what they say on the commentary. But I love the last shot. I love the last shot to death. I think it's one of the coolest ways and simple ways to end it, where Jameson Parker, he freaks out, has like wakes up from his dream, then has another dream, freaks out. The way the music goes up, doom, da da dum, and he looks at the mirror and he wonders if he touches that mirror, is that mirror gonna open up? Is he gonna be able to go to the other side? Is something gonna happen? Is something gonna reach out for him? Will he be able to enter and change things? Who knows? But it's a what if that John Carpenter can do well. He did in The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing very well. He did it here very well. This is a guy that does the what if endings he can do it well. A lot of times people can't, but he can. Most of the time. I did not like The Ward. I'm sorry. I saw The Ward. I didn't like it. But this one, he goes up to the mirror and he's about ready to touch it. Doom, da da dum, boom, fade to boom, black credits. Just a really creepy way to end it. I mean, that's the thing about this film. Great cast. It's creepy. It's atmospheric. It's got a wonderful score by John Carpenter. You know, it's a siege movie, but also has cool ideas that are interesting and different. I can understand it now. Took some repeated viewings, and of course, if I just read the synopsis from the UK, that's maybe it's on our DVD. I didn't read it, but could just read that. And, oh, okay, it's perfect. It's playing right there. Or listen to the commentary. But either way, I really do enjoy this film, Prince of Darkness. It's definitely worth your time, worth your effort. It's a great, underrated horror film. If you don't like it, that's cool, but I highly enjoy Prince of Darkness. But either way, thanks for watching. Thank you, X-Ben, for sending this to me. It's a really solid commentary. Either way, thanks for watching, and take care. Later.